Hi, everyone. With this awesome project, The Path to King, we've decided we're going to do a collection of videos, behind the scene videos, and we're going to start with sort of like the director's diary. And then we're going to do some interviews with some key makers of this project. Then we're going to eventually show maybe some behind the scenes, how we put it together, that sort of thing. So for this first segment, our first video, we're going to have the creator, Protector 6, talk about sort of how this project came about. Let's call it the director's diary. So here's director's diary, segment one. So the first thing might be on your mind, well, how did this project come about? And the project came about because I had an idea to work on Korean content for our stream. And I wanted K-pop related, and we've done this in our radio show. I was like, let's add something different to it. Let's mix it up. We won't be doing it every week, but we did a trial run with a narrative radio show story from COVID-19, like experiencing COVID-19 in Korea. And so what we did is we took ourselves and was like, oh, what if we were in Korea during COVID-19? You know, doing our life, having to stay at home, that sort of thing, and mixing it with K-pop. So we have this cool thing where we have in the segment, before we do each song, we say the song title in the narrative, and then the song, and then more narrative, and in that narrative segment, we have the next song's title in there. So it's really cool, something like Easter eggs, like, oh, if you pick out the song title, you might know when the next song is coming up. Something for our viewers to pay attention to. And was received positively, so we decided, let's do this again. And we are like, okay, but let's do something longer. And so it was only going to be like a one-time thing, maybe. But then I started writing it. And I've watched a lot of historical K-drama, so let's do a historical K-drama. Like, it just flows with me. And so I started working on it, and I realized, whoa, this could be multiple episodes. We can do this multiple times. And by the time I finished the first episode, I was like, yeah, this is just the beginning. And then we did it on stream. It was pretty low-key. I did the narration. We didn't really add sound effects. It wasn't produced pretty much. And then we got a lot of favorable reviews for it. We had a lot of people in it for our stream. I was like, whoa, let's make it happen. And then Disco Volante graciously offered his services for sound editing, narration. I was like, okay, this is real. This is real now. Let's get to work. So, next question you might be wondering is, why historical drama? Why ancient Korea? Why Koguryo, Baekje, and Sheila era? And the reason is I love that era of history, number one. I love Koguryo history. I like Sheila history. I like Baekje history. I love the Three Kingdoms era. And I've watched a lot of historical dramas. And I'm not talking ones like Hwarang, which came out a couple years ago, which is only like 18 episodes. It's very much a modern drama just set in Sheila. I'm talking about the 40 to 120 episode long shows like Jumong, King of the Winds, Gun Chogo Dewang, Gwantego the Great, Queen Sondok, and the list goes on and on. Six Flying Dragons. There's so many, and I would have to spend a lot more time rattling through them all. But I've watched so many of those that I was like, okay, this is easy for me. I know a story. And literally, it's funny because I started writing the first episode, and I didn't know where I was going with it. I just took some inspiration from some of my dramas and started writing. And it's crazy. By the end of the first episode, I knew how this story was going to play out. I knew. I was like, wait, this is a key point we're going to have to cover in an episode. Then this key point. Then this key point. This key point. And this is the end. But the crazy thing is that we can add key points. I have additional key points I'm willing to add this, depending on how successful this project is. So this could last a while. Like a traditional saguk. Saguk is the term for historical drama. So it's like mind-boggling, but it's really cool. But I love the era. I've done enough study on it, and you can make those longer segments too. The way the plot works is allows you to have flexibility in how long you want the project to be, which I find extra cool. And I would say the inspiration, at least this sort of the beginning of this drama, a lot of inspirations from the dramas Kingdom of the Wind, Queen Sondok, and Gunchogo Dewang. And I say that because it starts with the protagonist, the main character, not being raised in royalty. They are royalty, but they are raised outside of royalty. And that's where I sort of got the inspiration. Like, what is the first thing that propels them on a journey? What propels the story? It's not as enticing. It can be if they're royalty from the very get go. There's no character. There's very low character development. There's no hard journey. It's hard to make your companions in it. It's a lot easier to do that if you put them in a foreign environment from where they're supposed to be. And it makes more sense in a lot of ways of how their character is built. Because you say like they're very noble character, etc. But if they grow with a golden spoon, you're like, well, that's sort of maybe, but who knows? But you put them out into a impoverished state, and they grow from that state. You can see very good character development, and that's why I sort of chose those dramas as my inspiration to begin this journey for Seongchul. Another question is probably, oh man, I had this question in my mind. Oh yeah, music. Like, how do you choose the music? Well, the way I choose the music for this is I base off lyrics, song titles, actually, of the songs. And why I do that is because if I tried to base it solely on what musically fits with Sageuk's, we'd be very limited. Very, very limited. Because there's a certain style you hear in Sageuk's. One, you have more opera, classical feels to it. Others use traditional instruments. It's basically your song selection would be very limited. And while it'd be really cool, but it won't last long enough as I hope this project will last. So why we chose it, it's like, okay, let's just base a song lyric. Song title. So it's like this song is Farewell. Well, guess what? This makes sense thematically in this episode at this point in time that this is a farewell. We include this lyric into the title into the narrative. Yeah, that putting that song title in the narrative right there makes sense. Thematically, it makes sense. Puts us in a mood. Great, let's do it. So we focus less on what do this project like traditionally, the music, how does it sound like? No, it's based off. We wanted to get the theme right. We want to get the song title to be able to fit in the narrative, and that allows us to expand way beyond musically what we'd be able to do if we kept within the confines of a historical K-drama OST. Well, I guess this is the end of our first Director's Diary #1. I hope you enjoyed it. We will have some other diaries. We're going to have, hopefully, an interview with Disco Volante, who is our narrator, as well as our sound editor. So he puts all the sound effects in. It's really quality stuff. So I hope that you get excited for our interview with him that we'll be posting at the end of one of our future episodes of The Path to King, as well as on YouTube by itself. So thank you once again, and I hope you've enjoyed The Path to King, and I hope you continue to support it.